Welcome back to a summary for the final side story bundled with volume 25 of the rezero light novel, this time focused on the Felt camp. I do have a summary for the previous two Chronicles, but due to a copyright strike, they are currently unavailable and should be back soon. But for those unaware of what happened in them, Felt and Reinhard take Sirius back to the royal capital, but it takes twice as long as they keep getting stopped by bandits and witch beasts, so it takes them a month instead of 2 weeks. Reinhard escorts Sirius to the prison and Russell Fellow invites Felt for dinner and she accepts. I would like to thank Eminent Translations for translating this side story for me. The scene starts with Felt having dinner with Russell and Felt exclaims that Reinhard's cooking is better. Felt notices, however, that the life she lives now is totally different to the life she had in the slums. However, she wasn't scared of this change. Felt contemplates on the idea that only the strong survive. This is something that can only be applied to strong people, such as Reinhard. Felt was weak. She wasn't educated and she was female, which means that without Old Man Ron protecting her, she most likely would have died young. Felt in turn prefers survival of the fittest, the idea that you can adapt to the environment you're in. That's the reason why she isn't against change, as it shows that she's adapting to the new environment that she's in. As Reinhard and Felt joke around, Russell comments on the oddity of their master-servant relationship, commenting that it's unique. However, Felt actually states that since everyone is unique and everyone has their own different relationships with people, there's no such thing as a normal relationship, so therefore every relationship in itself is unique. Russell asks Felt if she remembered what he mentioned earlier in the day. What Russell talked about was the idea that the times are changing. In a very short time, 2 of the 3 great beasts were killed. Multiple Sin archbishops were killed or captured. In other words, the level of change is comparable to the times when Satella was rampaging across the world. This change isn't located only in Lagunica. Gutsiko are hunting heretics. Kararagi's mayors are thinking more deeply, and more importantly, Wallachia to the south was also experiencing a change. We learned that Wallachia has a non-aggression pact with Lagunica for the duration of the royal selection. A part of it was due to Reinhard. Again, this is EX Novel 4 information, so read that if you require more information. As Felt and Reinhard banter more, Russell states that what he's about to say is confidential. The non-aggression pact has a loophole, so even though Wallachia signed a treaty saying they won't attack Lagunica, there's a loophole around it. Russell continues, the aggression pact was signed by Vincent Wallachia and Miklitov, who was the elder sage of the Council of Wise Men. However, Vincent wouldn't betray the treaty by attacking Wallachia, but what if Wallachia was no longer ruled by Vincent Wallachia? There's a possibility that the pact would be dissolved due to a new emperor being present. Russell continues, stating that there is civil unrest in Wallachia and Lagunica may be related to it. The scene changes and we see Felt and Reinhard going back to the Astria mansion. Felt wants to know what Reinhard thinks, and because Russell Fellow is a big fish of the merchant world, there's a reason why he's saying this. In other words, he has concrete evidence that the pact may dissolve. Reinhard clarifies that a new emperor would negate whatever the previous emperor did, so the non-aggression pact would be negated, thus Wallachia could attack Lagunica. Felt asks what Reinhard would do, since he would be busy defending the country if Wallachia attacked, but Reinhard stated that he pledged his sword to Felt, so he would balance the duties equally. Felt said that they should prepare for war, and then wonders if the other royal candidates can do something, but realizes that the Anastasia camp and Emilia camp are preoccupied. Felt thinks about what Russell said about how the times are changing, and she thinks about Emilia and Subaru. She met them and her life was turned upside down, so she welcomes any future changes. With that said, Felt and Reinhard make their way back to the Astria mansion and the story ends. As we can see, this is build up to Arc 7, and Vincent has been kicked out, as we know from Arc 7. I highly recommend you check out the Priscilla side story summary I made to see what the Priscilla camp is doing during this. Anyways, I'll see you guys next time, and thank you to my channel members.